And thank you for bringing up the voice. Thanks, Dan. And a couple of things stood out for me in that song, breaking through and setting sail. And so you'll hear about the sailing kind of ideas as we talk a little bit today about how you can change your life. Now, last week, Reverend Kath, for those of you that were here, talked a little bit about the divine law of circulation and how finance and abundance are really part of everything that's around us, because after all, there is no thing else than the one. So that one thing has to include everything. So doesn't everything include our gifts, our treasures, our talents, and money? The green stuff, or the plastic stuff, depending on how you use it. Or today, you can just tap, use your phone, you can pay all different ways, but at the end of the day, what is it about? It's about exchanging something for some service or something that you want, something that you think will make your life a little bit better. Gee, that sounds like science of mind. Tools that help your life make things a little bit better. So today we're going to talk about how science of mind and our belief system can help us or hinder us in the financial realm with this thing that some of us call money. So we spoke, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago about living the dream, right? And oftentimes somebody says, how are you doing? I say, oh, I'm living the dream, living the dream. Because here in northern Arizona, especially in Prescott, you notice that we have great weather most of the time. Now it got a little cool in the morning and my plants are withering. They're probably not going to make it through the next frost. But you know what? We enjoyed a great summer. We had a lot of green coming about from the rain. And our winters aren't really that bad. Our hot isn't that hot. So we say, we got a pretty good life right here in Prescott. And I see a lot of heads nodding. And so you know that one of the things we say when we're living our dream is we want to do the things that we might enjoy. We want to hang out with our family and our friends. We want to go on a hike. We want to kayak on the lakes around here. We want to enjoy ourselves, and sometimes that's free. You just have to have your time and do it. But other times you might need a little bit of cash to help grease the skids, so to speak, to pay for that fun that you want to do, especially if you want to go flying or fill your tank with gas to go somewhere. So Ernest Holmes wrote, Spirit wants to give in abundance, and that includes financially. Money is a part and parcel of this abundant world, right? Money's part of what we do. We might have it in our wallet or our purse, so it has to be part of this one life, this one thing that's Ernest Holmes always talking about. So why is it then that everywhere we go, in every town, every city, every country, you see some people that aren't doing so well financially, and some people that are outrageously wealthy? So it doesn't have to do with where you are, and you see it in all different types of people, so it has nothing to do with the particulars. So what's it about? Have you thought of that? So like many things in this physical world, there seems to be a dichotomy. But if we look a little bit deeper, we realize, no, it's just following the spiritual rules. So in fact, way back when, about 2,000 years ago, a fellow named Luke in the 12th chapter said that, animals and plants are given everything they need. Surely humans would too. The actual words were something like, consider the lilies, how they grow, they neither toil nor spin. If God so clothes the grass in the field, how much more will God or Source provide us? Well, let's look at clothing in the broadest sense, because that means giving to, supporting, providing for, and that means providing for in abundance, right? So what holds us back? When I was studying practitioner, one of the classes we could take was called financial freedom. Now, who doesn't want financial freedom? Anyone? I think it's something that we would all like, because what if you were financially free? This is one of the questions they asked, if money were no object, if you could have anything you want, what is it you want? And why do you want it? How will you feel when you have what it is that you think you want? Well, somebody might say, I want that new Mercedes-Benz. How's it going to make you feel? It's going to make me feel special. I'm going to be great. Then you get that Mercedes-Benz, and it breaks down. And you realize, dang, no wonder they're so expensive. Just getting out the wrench costs you $100. And you realize that along with that Mercedes-Benz and that great big thing, you have a problem. I just read this guy's living paycheck to paycheck. He only makes $350,000 a year. He's got $83,000 in student debts. He's got $170,000 in car debt. Let's see, he's paying $4,500 a month in his mortgage. And I'm thinking right away, this person is nuts. They obviously can't add and subtract. Well, of course, the feds get, 40% of that 350. So, oh man, now you're still only 250. So that means in the top 1% of earners in the United States and living paycheck to paycheck, we're going to find out that that is a false belief. So in this little picture that I'm going to show you is something that we used in financial freedom. It's called the Coach to Everywhere. Everywhere we go, we are in this little coach. The horse is driving us, and then in the back seat, there's the back seat driver, and it's the part of your mind that sits there and goes, oh, no, stop here, turn, wait, you just missed the exit, oh. And then along the way, you see bystanders, might be your old stories, and they're telling you, go this way, and the other one says, no, go this way. And you wonder, what in the world? No wonder there's a lot of accidents out there with these coaches, because they're not being driven in any reasonable way. And what we show is the little guy in blue with the heart is a spirit-led person who's able to say, I know where I'm going, and everything else I'm just going to ignore. I'm on the path to freedom. But there's a lot of things that get in the way. And some of those things that get in the way are shown as these little gray fellows, and you can see here along the way, and in the back seat of your mind. Anyone have a little mind that says, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. I ought not do that. Why did you do that? Where did that voice come from? Well, I'll tell you a little story when it comes to money, because let's do an experiment. When you were young, if you can remember back, let's see, I had to think about it. When I was young, what was the first things that you learned about money? Who wants to shout something out?
Hide it.
Hide your money. You have to earn it. Scarce. There's never enough of it. Doesn't grow on trees.
Save it.
Save it. So I thought of some of those myself, put them up there. And money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard. There's never enough. Right? Where did we learn that? And are we still thinking about it today? Parents, of course, teachers, adults. And if you have any young kids, they call them dolts now. Oh, wait. Dolts. But what's on the back of every $100 bill? In God we trust. So are we trusting God when we listen to those old beliefs? Have you done away with some of those old beliefs, or are you still struggling with some of them? You know, it was cold the other day in the morning, got up, and right through my mind it said, because I had a little crack, one of the windows cracked open, I says, oh, you're just throwing money out the window. Wasting that money. So let me tell you a little bit about my early life and my first encounter with money, because every month my father paid the bills, and he was very organized. He mimeographed this form which he had written down all of the things that he needed to pay. He had his checkbook, he had his bills, he had stamps. He was all set. I couldn't understand why it was that he was so grouchy around bill paying time. And he says, "This is just my job, Thrym." That was my name, Thrym. And so I go, okay, but boy, stay away from him on bill paying day. Well, we had 6 kids. He was a teacher and then a principal. And I'm sure that at the time that must have been a bit of a challenge, but I didn't realize it till I went off to college and I had to pay my own bills. Oof. Well, of course, fast forward, I didn't use a mimeograph machine. I had, a computer, and so I made a little list of the things that I had to do. I got paid at the beginning of each semester, and then I had summer job, and lo and behold, when I got towards the end of the semester, what would happen? I'd look at the checkbook, I'd look at my bills, and I'd wonder, so this is what Dad faced. And so now, as a college student, entertainment is very important. And you always seem to find enough money for entertainment. And food, of course, you just have to eat. Now, luckily, at a university, there's all sorts of things in the afternoon where you can get cookies. You wonder why students always hang around for the free cookies? It's because they're filling up so that they don't have to pay for those cookies themselves. So I became aware of what it was that he was struggling with, because he, in a sense, had to do a form of triage. What am I going to pay now? What can I pay late on payment? And where might I borrow or steal from the future for today, so that I can, not have the phone turned off at that time, the landline, right? And the electricity, you need electricity, you need all those things. But he also had a lot of insurance lines on his mimeograph sheet. And insurance is a way of betting against the insurance company that something bad is going to happen to you. And they're betting it's not going to happen to you and that you're going to keep on paying them every month. And you're betting that something's going to go wrong and then you're going to be able to pay out. Oh, but a lot of them, like life insurance, it's not you, it's your estate that's going to be the winner. So it was a mindset that, of course, not surprisingly, just we heard it in the audience, he learned that from his parents. And they learned it from their parents. So it's no wonder that if we don't break that cycle, we're just going to keep on living this same false belief notions about money and financial freedom. Now, since we're here at Halloween, then we're kind of playing around with different outfits or masks. But what mask are you wearing when it comes to money? Which of those false beliefs or new beliefs are holding you back from your abundance, from your financial freedom? So we can look at this, and our founder reminds us that we live in a spiritual universe governed by spiritual laws. And we know this because it's the first principle of science of mind. There's only one thing going on. And so like the song, we similar things to you to hold you back. They don't do it on purpose. It's just that they're afraid that you might be disappointed. No, don't try and shoot for that basket. You might miss. Oh, wait a minute. If I don't try and then learn from it, I'll never make a basket. I have to play the game. So we're dressed up, we're playing the game, but we need to learn a little bit more about how to play the money game. So there's lots of resources that we can see, and one of the things that we can look at is if there's an infinite source on our side, then aren't we already on the winning side? We're part of the winning team. We're players on the winning team. We can learn from these experts. Eric Butterworth wrote a book back in, I don't know when it was, 83, I think it was. The Spiritual Economics, I think he called it. Let's see. Yep. Then Ernest Holmes, long before that, actually back in 1918, wrote a 4-pager, which you can find today. And if you can't find it, let me know, because for only $1.99, you can get it from the Science of Mind archives. I kid you not. And the goal, according to Eric Butterworth, should not be to make money or acquire things. What? The goal should not be to make money or acquire things, but to achieve the consciousness through which the substance will flow forth when and as you need it. Now, that's a whole different thing than what I was taught. So it means that it's our consciousness, it's our thinking, which is exactly what we teach here in Science of Mind. Change your thinking, change your life, right? Now, my father spent basically most of his whole life with what I call stinking thinking, where he was thinking that, gee, it's hard, it can't work. Towards the end of his life, well, he got rid of all 6 of us kids. He got rid of the grandkids that came back to kind of spend some time at their house. And so finally, he was at a point where, lo and behold, things were working a little more easily. But he still didn't believe that he should trust it. He was always waiting, as he said, for the other foot to fall. Right? And I'm saying, what are you talking about? One day he said, Thrim, some days I get up and I feel like an old man. I said, Dad, you've earned that title. So one of the common things we'll see in all of these books, whether it's Susie Orman and her Creating a Life of Material and a Spiritual Abundance, or Ernest Holmes, there are some things that you can take away. First of all, you have to have a goal. It's like setting sail. If you don't know where you're sailing, I guarantee you won't get there. Because the wind has a habit of moving the sail around and then changing directions. But the wind blows the way the wind blows. And yet one boat can go east, one boat can go west, and yet they're both using the same gale. Isn't that interesting? So the sailing analogy says that we're sailing through life. How we set our sails, how we think, is what helps us decide, are we sailing in the good direction that achieves my goals? Or am I just letting it kind of random walk and the sails are going this way and that way and I wonder why I'm not getting anywhere? So set your sails and sights on the goal. So whatever you need, increase your business, help make ends meet, whatever it is, write it down and start to believe it, start to live in dollars for something that only cost me 50 cents, do the math. They're winning, and all the people that get the little 50-cent booklet, wait, am I supposed to go online and try and convince 10,000 people to send me $7.79 for that booklet? So instead, what we've got to do is really get out there and be active and persist. Don't just go knocking at the same door. If you don't find an open door, quit knocking on the closed door and create a new door. So you take the action steps that are yours to take. And let's face it, we have to be honest about our circumstances. You know, one of the things we can do is have magical thinking and say, I know, I'm going to win the lottery. Well, did you buy a ticket? So we can't allow magical thinking to change. We have to know where we are and we have to decide what we want to do to change it. Like that guy who's making only $350K. Well, maybe he needs to get different cars. Let's start with that $170,000 car payment, right? So we can make choices. Now, one of the things that we think is a great tool is spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. And then we teach it to the kids. We say, God is, I am, I know, thank you, and goodbye. And the most important one of all is thank you. If we were only to say thank you in the morning when you get up, spend 10 minutes in Zen meditation? Thank you. And watch your breath. At the end of the day, thank you. And watch your breath. How much better your life would be right then and there. So, let's soar. Let's soar with spirit and find that financial freedom and live into the life of freedom that we want. Let's take that into prayer. Right now, we recognize that there's only one thing going on. One power, one presence, one perfect all-being that is everywhere. It's every when. So it has to be right here, right now, right with us, right with me, right with you. And if it's everywhere, then it's also in our pocketbook. And so I know that the abundance that surrounds us is waiting for us to open up to it. Just like the rain that falls equally on everybody, the abundance of the air we breathe, the abundance of gravity that holds us firmly on the planet, all the plants and animals that are out there to give us the wealth of this earth. So I know that as we look out and we say what it is that I want, it comes to us because it's God's good pleasure to give us in abundance. So I'm so very, very grateful for this knowing and for this truth. And I just send these words into the law, knowing it's already done. And we can anchor that by saying, and so it is. Please rise and help me wash that love right over you.